Welcome back to the concluding session of our forum. May we leave the best for last, as we say in Arabic, ختام مسك. Investment in education and art is another way of soft power between nations. I would like to introduce a panel that will bring a lot of take-home value on this subject. Ms. Nada Masoudi, the Chief Nursing Officer from the Security Forces Hospital in Riyadh. Dr. Nadia Baisha, the Dean of CBA, University of Business and Technology in Saudi Arabia. Dr. Helena Kvachkova, Department of Science and Research from Charles University in Prague. Mr. Pavel Stasny, Art Director of the Art of Cultural Diversities. Please, I welcome all of them on stage. We will start with Ms. Nada Masoudi, the Chief Nursing Officer from the Security Forces Hospital in Riyadh, to share with us her experience.
Thank you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Dobry Dan. I'm very glad today to be here to present briefly about women in Saudi Arabia and their journey in education. Also to highlight the opportunity, the big opportunity of nursing profession in Saudi Arabia. I would like also to thank Mr. Shabokshi and Dr. Martin for their invitation. So, I'm going to talk beginning about women education journey in Saudi Arabia and where we are now, and then profession of nursing in Saudi Arabia. I will try my best to go very quickly, fast with my story, and also the recruitment of chief nurses in our country and also in our hospital, Security Forces Hospital. So I'm very glad to hear this kind of business forum today, which is going to help in improve the things of health sector, especially among nurses, with the severe shortage of nursing in Saudi Arabia. So let's see the history of women education in Saudi Arabia. It's not that long time ago. It was started during Royal Highness King Faisal bin Abdulaziz Al Saud in the almost end of 1958, when he was introducing the school for women in Saudi Arabia during that time. During the Royal Highness King Fahad bin Abdulaziz, there was a big opportunity for women in Saudi Arabia to go across the broad to obtain different knowledge and skills, and which mean the scholarship from Saudi Arabia. So there was a different country, and I was one of those glad people who get my master's degree from Australia, and now I'm working in my PhD from San Francisco University. During this time today, the women take leader in different organization and also among the government. So during the Royal Highness King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz, our father, the women have the highest position in the kingdom, and not only in the kingdom, also international. As you can see in the PowerPoint poster here. In the left side, Dr. Mahal Munif. She, a few months ago, she had award about strong women among the world. And also, we've been involved in business, in art, in we share in the Olympic, and science, many research being conducted by Saudi women nationally and internationally. So that's a very huge improvement within a short period of time if we're going to look like beginning of 60 up to date, how the female or women in Saudi Arabia reached to this big stage. Among all of that, nursing profession is still, it's not to that level of profession in the kingdom for many reasons. There are many reject from the culture, from people itself in Saudi Arabia. This is Arab News just yesterday. They mentioned 1 in 3 Saudi reject the nursing profession as a profession. And here it's my story. When I graduated from high school with a very high score, my family, they was thinking that I will be in a medical school. So I went to visit a number of colleges in Saudi Arabia, which was in 1992. And I find in King Saud University, nursing school, there is nobody applying nursing school. And I was wondering. So I started searching about nursing profession. And I applied in nursing school, and I went back home to inform my family. And I was so happy. I feel a big resist from my family, my friends, my culture. Why you want to be a nurse? What's the reason you want to be a nurse? You are living in luxury environment. You have a housemaid around you who help you, provide everything for you. How you want to help people, cleaning them, feeding them. So I was insist really to go to this position. And since I graduated in 1998, I joined Security Forces Hospital as the first Saudi nurse. And I put in my front, I'm going to lead through change the image of nursing in Saudi Arabia, and also the challenging I'm going to face. Today, I'm the Director of Nursing at Security Forces Hospital, looking over 1,000, almost 100 nurses in our hospital. And I'm very glad that our department was the best department this year. So that's a very success. Here is our hospital, Security Forces Hospital, and as Dr. Qasabi, he highlighted the expansion of hospital and health sector in Saudi Arabia with the increased number of population. And we know all around the world we have severe shortage of nurses. So this is a big challenging for us. And so we start to, or since long time ago, Saudi Arabia depend on recruiting nursing around the world. In Security Forces Hospital, we had starting our recruitment from CHIC from 2009 for physiotherapy department. Then in 2010, we start to recruit nurses, and we are very glad to have them joining us in our hospital. So in our department, nursing education, we have more than 28 different nationalities. And as I mentioned to you, because nurses is very difficult to have this profession as Saudi nurses, so we are dependent mainly in different nationality. And in our hospital today, we have 10 CHIC nurses, but we had recruited many before, as you know, the fast turnover. I'm just going to display this video to show you the experience of CHIC nurses in our hospital. I hope that Mr. Hussein will give a chance for 3 minutes video to be run. And this is our last visit 10 days ago. I was in the state when we had a contract with American Nursing Association to give some courses and license to our nurses. So this is a big opportunity also for CHIC nurses to obtain license from state. Something wrong with the video. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, cannot display. But there was a CHIC nurses when I asked them to give me their feedback, they told me they prefer to say it by themselves. The nicest story, we have two chief nurses. One, he's a male working in emergency department and a female working in ICU. They meet each other there in Saudi Arabia and they get married, and we celebrate for them a nice marriage wedding day for them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Nada Masoudi, for a beautiful presentation. I would like just to take 2 seconds that I am very honored and proud to present Dr. Nadia Baishen. She's a person that I consider an icon in my country, someone I've learned a lot from, and I'm very honored and grateful that she's accepted our invitation to be with us today. Dr. Nadia Baishen, the Dean of CBA University of Business and Technology in Jeddah, please.
Thank you, Mr. Shibukshi. And thank you, President Company. I was afraid that maybe the last session won't contain much people, but the turnout is really very encouraging, so thank you for sticking around. I apologize for not having my PowerPoint presentation like everyone else, because this is the bad news. The airline lost my luggage, and the good news is they told me they found it, but they're still in Paris. So ever since they told me that they found it, I've been praying to God, oh dear God, please, please, let them find them empty and filling them up with French merchandise. A little bit of Chanel, a little bit of Christian Dior won't help, right? Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about the subject that is so dear to our hearts in Saudi Arabia, and there are reasons for that, which is education. My colleagues have previously mentioned and talked a little bit about it, but I'm going to zoom in with you on a few issues that may look kind of interesting, actually. Some of my colleagues already spoke about the total population in Saudi Arabia, and that is 29, give and take, million. But it's not all Saudis. These are expats included. The Saudis actually round up to 20 million people in Saudi Arabia. The rate of the birth in Saudi Arabia is 18% annually, and the rate of death is 3.3%. Let me give you another breakdown of the population in age so you understand why our government is keen on education and health as well. 27% of the 20 million Saudis, 27% are between the age of 0 to 4. 19% are between the ages 15 and 24. 45% are between the ages of 25 and 54. 4.5% are between the ages of 55 and 64 years, and only 3.2% are age 65 and above. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, we are a very young nation in age terms, and because of that, the government finds itself really faced with the fact that these people need two things, and two important things, that health and education. Some of my colleagues also mentioned how much the government spends on both sectors, the health and the education, and education actually wins. The government spends 20% of its annual budget on education, and that rounds up to $56 billion every year on education. They spend half of that on health. The number of students who are graduating from high school every year is close to 1.5 million, and they're all in the market shopping for universities and colleges. Until about 15 years ago, it was totally unheard of in Saudi Arabia to have private colleges owned by people. Only government-owned universities and colleges. 15 years ago, they started to open up that opportunity for the private sector to start colleges as well as universities to help absorb these huge numbers and the big, ever-increasing demand on education. This is, ladies and gentlemen, not to mention the scholarships. Scholarships is a whole different ball game, and the government sends our students abroad, and they actually are spread all over the globe. I don't know if we have any students studying here in Sheikh, but the government spends about $20 billion on students studying abroad, and that's not out of the education budget, that comes out of the king's pocket. The education sector is highly in demand, and the government is so keen on improving that sector by, as I said, scholarships abroad, government increasing numbers of universities and colleges, as well as the private sector. What can we do in terms of investment between the two countries, our two countries in that field? I think we have plenty of investment opportunities in terms of education. We have the education exchange programs for students, education exchange programs for teachers and faculty members. We have research need badly in Saudi Arabia, and we can join forces and work on a lot of research papers, publications, what have you, in different areas of life, particularly in Saudi Arabia, where research is still way undermined in Saudi Arabia. We also are interested in starting a PhD program. Saudi Arabia in its entirety, they do not yet have a PhD program where PhD degrees are offered. The maximum we offer is a master's degree, except maybe in the area of Islamic studies. Other than that, we have to send our students abroad. So the reason why I'm so upset that my luggage had been lost is because after Prague, I'm going to Switzerland, and after that I'm going to France to check and see some of the universities and the colleges and see if we can join forces and come up with a conjunction program where we can offer a PhD program, and it is badly needed. So if anybody has any ideas or want to share some ideas or concepts in this regard, I am going to stick around for another couple of days, hopefully for my luggage to come back full of French merchandise, and I'll be more than happy to discuss it with you. Thank you very, very much.
Dr. Nadia, thank you very much for an interesting presentation. We might not have a university ready to talk to you, but I just got a message from Louis Vuitton who might be interested to speak to you privately. Or Chanel, for that matter. Okay. Dr. Helena Kvakova, Department of Science and Research from Charles University, which is, by the way, I was told, is the oldest medical school in Europe. It's one of the oldest universities in Europe, but it's the oldest medical school in Europe. And that's quite an achievement on its own, to add to another reason why we should really invest in the relationship with the Czech Republic. Dr. Helena.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for inviting me to this conference. This panel is entitled Education and Art, so I will focus on education because I'm a chemist by profession. I'm not an expert on arts. I would like to introduce you to Charles University. As has been said, it's one of the oldest educational institutions in Europe. It was founded in 1348 by the Holy Emperor and Czech King Charles IV. In the 19th century, it was split into two parts, into the German part and the Czech part, and in 1920, after the creation of the Czechoslovak state, it was was renamed, and it has borne the name of Charles University ever since. And now, very briefly, I would like to introduce you to Charles University in several figures. Altogether, the university has 17 faculties. 3 of them are located out of Prague. Charles University includes 5 medical faculties, 3 of them dealing with natural sciences. And what is unique about the university? We have 3 theological faculties. The number of staff is more than 8,000, and there are more than 51,000 students. So in comparison with other universities in Europe and worldwide, it's quite a large institution. Every year we have more than 8,500 graduates. And I would like to tell you with pride about the results of the university, which are summed up in the slide. Unfortunately, you cannot see them yet. The university ranks among 1.5 best universities in the world. These charts are often criticized because they assess universities from different perspectives. Some of the figures are incomparable. However, an old proverb says that everyone likes to criticize things, but everyone wants to be as good as possible. Everyone wants to achieve the best possible results. Now, I would like to tell you a few words about the mobility of university students and university staff. In today's world, it's important to focus on mobility and exchange of experience. Charles University has 1,500 bilateral agreements with other universities in the world about the provision of services and cooperation. About half of programs educational programs at the university are conducted in English or other languages. These are accredited programs, and the most recent act in this area is the creation of a new educational program named after President Václav Havel. It's a master's degree program, and it has been created in cooperation with Oxford University, Paris University, and Leiden University. Furthermore, there is what we call the Mobility Fund at the university to cover study trips to other universities, namely universities abroad, for the students and scientific staff, and it makes it possible to for academics to come to Charles University. Once again, here we can read some data about the numbers of students studying in foreign language programs, the number of PhD students, the number of study programs in foreign languages. In this slide, I would like to focus on the fact that Charles University ensures more than a quarter of the scientific results. Only the Academy of Sciences can compete with the university in this respect. If we sum up all of its institutes. Obviously, other universities in the Czech Republic would like to perform better than Charles University. And that's why high importance is attributed to the care for students. About 1/2 of the budget of scientific projects at Charles University are obtained thanks to different grants and competitions. Thanks to European funds, 5 big scientific centers have been created. Some of them work already, some of them will be opened next year. These are to bring together the best academics working in different areas of knowledge in order to enhance even more the image of the university, because the university ranks among the 200th and 300th place in the worldwide chart. This slide provides you with useful links and contact data for those who are interested, and in the adjacent room you will find some promotional documents. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Děkuji, thank you very much. And now I'd like to introduce somebody who's very well known in the Czech Republic for his art and talent, Mr. Pavel Šťastný, art director and he will speak about the art of cultural diversities. Pavel.
Dobrý den, vaše excelence, dámy a pánové.
Good afternoon, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen.
Tady budeme hovořit o umění.
Today we are also going to talk about art. I want to go back to the previous presentation when we visited the Royal Hospital in Bahrain. Some of the doctors started talking to us in Czech, and we were surprised. And it turned out that many doctors, many physicians in the Gulf actually studied at Charles University, and particularly in Hradec Králové. But now the art. At first sight, it seems that the art and design do not belong to this business forum. But it's not true, because each of your product, each of your logo, your printed materials, presentations, offices must be designed by artists. And therefore art and business are very closely linked. I will introduce myself by some pictures. I mainly create corporate logos and corporate designs. These are some of the logos I created. Seznam.cz, that's the Czech Google. Datart is the electronic appliances shop, and then farmer markets. We were probably the first ones in the Czech Republic. The most famous logo I created 25 years ago, when I was still a student, was the logo of the Civic Forum movement, which is a symbol of Velvet Revolution in 1989. The last logo that I created is the logo of the Czech Saudi Chamber of Commerce, and I want to thank also Mr. Šabokši for cooperation. Last year, together with Martin Vrba, we created a special project for the Gulf. We created new designs of hospital beds for both children and adults, and we introduced them this year in summer in Saudi Arabia at Saudi Health, and also at the Czech Embassy in Riyadh. This bed could be seen live after the gala dinner. There will be an after party organized by the partners of this business forum, and we would like to invite you to the dinner, the after party. We do not only do logos, we also work for film, for various developers. We do interiors, designs, events, etc. So that's kind of an introduction. But let's go back to the art. We, or His or Her Excellency, Ambassador of Morocco, and His Excellency, Ambassador of Saudi Arabia, who lead the Association of OIC countries, approached us and asked us to create a culture project to introduce Muslim cultures in the Czech Republic. This is the logo. This is the first time you can see it. And it's the first art exhibition that would bring art to Prague. And it runs across Africa, Middle East and Asia. And it should take place next year in spring in Prague. But today, you, our friends from Saudi Arabia, came to the Czech Republic, to the heart of Europe, and you came for business. Our project covers a wider spectrum. It includes 23 countries that would bring art to the Czech Republic. And we would like to establish cooperation so that we could bring Czech art back to these countries. There are really many countries involved, and Saudi Arabia and Morocco are those that are important, as there are various funds focusing on art, and we will approach the other embassies through these funds. Unfortunately, some of the countries do not have their embassies in the Czech Republic, so we will therefore address embassies with their location in Vienna, or we will approach directly the countries. The whole project should cover the whole art. And art is about many things. It's painting, design, music. And I welcome David Gajdečka, who is the director of United Islands. And we have also agreed on cooperation in the area of music. And today at the forum we talked about an interesting topic, and these are Arab horses. Even this is a kind of art, which is a very interesting aspect in Arab countries. The project, or the first year of the project, should be linked also to food and eating. And it should open exchange between the countries and create a platform for meeting and also for business. This is the visualization of the project, how it should look like. And this project is prepared in cooperation with Martin Vrba and the Czech-Saudi Chamber of Commerce, is a partner of this event, and the event also will be organized under the auspices of the Czech Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Já ještě jednu věc, jenom představa o tom vlastně, co to je umění v Saudské Arábii.
What is art in Saudi Arabia? Before I started going there, for me, you know, it was just pictures from travel agency catalogs. And when I was there last time in Riyadh, and I bought a book about contemporary art in Saudi Arabia, and I'll show you something from Saudi Arabia. The modern art combines old ornaments with a new design. It uses these ornaments with other new consequences. This is, for example, a design table. A huge cupola also uses ornaments.
Geometrické tvary, které se vlastně kombinují s původními vzory. Mě hrozně zaujalo, že vlastně v Saudské Arábii vůbec takové věci existují.
You know, it was quite a surprise that things like that exist in Saudi Arabia, because I thought that there is nothing like that. And it seems to me that, you know, these items are at the top level in the area of design or sculptures, hanging objects.
Ještě mě zaujala jedna věc, že
there is one thing that drew my attention, and that is sister of Mr. Shabakshi was one of the first ones who started to organize exhibition of contemporary art.
Tohle jsou různé postele.
Tohle je zajímavá věc, tohle je postel. And this is interesting. This is a bed, and I would love to have a bed like that.
Fotografie, různé montáže. Tak a tohle mě teda doopravdy zaujalo.
And this is something that really caught my attention.
Jestli si všimnete, co tam je špatně.
If you notice what is wrong in this picture,
tenhle je ještě lepší.
And this is even better.
A na závěr, to je věc, která pro mě vyjadřuje
this is something that expresses modern art in conjunction with oil.
Děkuju moc.
So thank you very much, and I look forward to meeting you once again in Prague in spring next year. Thank you.
There's always a second chance, I think. So I am told that we can fix the video problem. We would like to see the video of Ms. Nada Masoudi, please, if we can have it played now.